action.
I'm giving you the tools, right? I'm giving you the sandbox. I'm setting the table for you, but it's up to you to decide what you want to eat.
Master Chief is human. He's not a machine. He's not a set of armor with a big weapon. He's a human with resilience and courage.
You know, and I was so looking forward to this moment because for Master Chief, you know, the stoic soldier, the man of few words, all that. But there was this progression, you know, in terms of his emotional side, even through the first 3 games. But this was going to be the great leap.
What happens when that soldier starts to discover his humanity?
We had to create a situation that was going to knock him out of his comfort zone. The Master Chief has settled into this comfort zone of being the hero. You know, it's interesting. Early on, we talked about the hero's journey, and like, how do you have a hero's journey when he's already a hero?
What are the sacrifices that you need to make in order to preserve something as precious as humanity?
The journey is the important part. The growth is the important part. And so really, where does he still need to go as a human? That became the key to not just the story of Halo 4, but the entire trilogy.
We're really examining what sort of burdens a Guardian carries.
In a lot of ways, the story that we're telling with Halo 4 is about putting Chief in circumstances where he's forced to change. He's forced to take stock of himself.
In a way, Chief is a Guardian. Cortana is Chief's Guardian. The Forerunners were the Guardians of their own universe, and they might have to make a decision that not everyone is going to agree with and that some people might condemn.
It's almost like you're a little kid and you're just playing make-believe again. So you imagine everything. The table's here. The plinth for Cortana is here. There's a window here. Ready, go.
How can we immerse the player even more in this world that we've built around them?
I'm not doing this for mankind.
How can we have Chief have to deal with his own humanity?
Everything had to be predicated by what the character needs were and what direction the characters needed to go in.
The art direction specifically for Halo 4 isn't about creating an emotional tone for Halo 4, it's about creating an emotional tone for every single moment and experience that the player needs to understand.
Similar to what we said is that, you know, we build what we need to see. We can't look too far this way or it starts to fall apart. But back in here, things are looking good.
Film is like, I'm going to create something and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to polish it and I'm going to own it, but I'm going to share it with you, which is very different than game storytelling, which is I'm going to give you all the tools, I'm going to give you all the possibilities, and it's up to you to discover it.
Answering questions and answering the directions that the narrative had already taken to find the path forward for us as we started to tell the story.
We're always telling these huge, big stories. We've got Infinity, it's the biggest ship that has ever been launched. We've got Requiem, which is like the biggest Forerunner artifact we've ever found. But in the middle of all of that, we've got this very small personal story between Master Chief and Cortana.
You tell a story with every detail that you put into a game. Immersion is really what allows somebody to believe your universe and also to become emotionally caught up in your universe.
Ready to get back to work?
I thought you'd never ask.
How do we make sure the sights and the sounds and the things that they're feeling as a player inhabiting that suit really comes through more clearly? And you know, technology has allowed us to do that with much higher fidelity than back in the CE days.
Okay, so those are definitely bigger ones.
Yeah, those start to get.
Just because we've got more people.
Let's roll video. Yeah. So this will be just video and audio only, no face, no mocap.
In that case, you won't mind if we return the favor.
As we design these things, we put together the best plan. Until it actually touches an actor, it lacks humanity.
Having the ability to work with the actors on stage, capturing their face, body, and voice at the same time, really gives us an opportunity to create an immersive experience for the actors.
Working at Giant, we can have at least 8 actors in the same volume at the same time.
So the objects that they're acting around and the people that they're acting with, against, through, and toward are there in the scene with them, and it makes a huge difference.
We sent out a breakdown for the characters and how we wanted them to feel. We ended up getting 80 or 90 submissions back through our casting team.
Casting for the Master Chief is tough. You need a performer that has a really raw physicality to him, and yet he has to, within the confines of this suit, be able to relate and relay emotion.
I like to express myself. I freely do it. I wholly do it. I enjoy it. And so pulling back on all of those instincts is what's required to play him.
Imagine that translating to a 3D model with huge armor and making sure the personality of Chief's movement comes through that armor was really critical. And that really came down to Bruce's acting, his physical stature, and really his physicality as he went through all of the performance.
You'll never see his face or hear his voice, but all of the other actors that are playing off of him have received so much from him in their performances, and I think that they would all agree with that.
This is the low-res asset of Chief. We were afforded a little bit more budget since he's our hero.
From the art process, storytelling is just about engaging the player. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to take them through a lot of loops of feeling. The player's engaged. I think you've got the start.
So Master Chief's a difficult one because he's a dude in a helmet.
There's such a, particularly in science fiction, such a fantastic history of people being completely realized as people without having their face as a tool.
For us, it's making him feel like a real person. We have a nude male sculpt, and then from there we sculpt it on physically a tech suit.
And on top of this guy is when we spend time just doing all the details and trying to add some of that functionality, even little bits here and there like braille, and this just reads 117.
I think it's connected to having even more